You know it's the prisoners who have real power when they can literally shoot scenes for a music video inside prison walls without anybody being able to explain how they did it.
Lleno de humildad, es el jefe y patrón, señores. Es Adolfo Macías Villamar.
That man is Adolfo Macías, also goes by the name Fito. He's a notorious drug lord in Ecuador, leader of a criminal gang that's just been branded by the government as a terrorist organization. And he appears to be at the center of a chaotic last 72 hours. This past Sunday, Macías escaped his cell. Media reports say he was just hours away from being transferred to a maximum security prison, serving a 34-year sentence for drug trafficking and murder, when he just vanished.
Ecuador has launched a nationwide operation to locate a drug lord who disappeared from jail.
Authorities seem to have no idea where he is. Within 48 hours, there was a string of prison riots, more than 100 guards taken hostage, and the president of Ecuador declared a nationwide state of emergency. Soldiers in the streets, a curfew after 11 p.m., and a search team thousands strong to look for one man. Then, things got worse. And just a heads up, we won't show you anything explicitly graphic, but this unfolded on live TV. This is what viewers saw when they watched a live news broadcast on Tuesday. Masked gunmen raiding a TV studio in Guayaquil, one of Ecuador's biggest cities, armed with pistols, shotguns, and what look like explosives. Employees are ordered to lie down, there are screams, and shots are fired. Police ultimately moved in, apprehended the suspects, all hostages still alive. But this TV takeover, seen in real time in thousands of homes across the country, even the music video too, it's all sent a very powerful message to the government about who's in charge.
These gangs have gotten a lot of money very quickly, and they want to be left alone.
That is dramatic. An internal armed conflict, basically, it means that the country is at war.
Ecuador's murder rate has shot up. Security experts believe as many as a quarter of Ecuadorian prisons are effectively controlled by the drug trade. And it's not clear what it'll take to wrestle control back.
The revenue that is produced by cocaine is just enormous, and in some cases bigger than the security budgets that these governments have.
You know, I suspect when most people think of Ecuador, they think of the Galapagos Islands, a paradise for wildlife, the inspiration for Darwin's theory of evolution, a very serene brand of peace. But Ecuador is squished between two of the world's biggest cocaine producers, Colombia and Peru. Colombia alone produces more than half the world's cocaine. That's a guess based on drug seizure data. But combine it with Peru, and now we're talking almost all of the world's supply. And increasingly, Ecuador has become a player in that trade. Not because it makes cocaine. It doesn't even grow coca, which is what you make cocaine with. But its ports annually handle many millions of tons of freight. Crude oil, tuna, bananas, an endless stream of cargo ships to exploit. This photo from last September, 8,000 kilos of cocaine smuggled from Ecuador to the Netherlands in a container full of bananas.
Ecuador has a lot of beautiful territory, a lot of rural territory, perfect areas for drug shipments to move in and move out without being detected.
They're very keen to protect that shipment route now that they've got it, and that's a big reason why they lashed out with some of these dramatic, violent incidents of the last few days.
Today, Ecuador is considered one of the most dangerous countries in Latin America. Its gangs are propped up by foreign cartels, Mexican, Brazilian, all locked in a perpetual war with each other and the government for control of key smuggling routes. 2023 in Ecuador saw nearly twice as many violent deaths compared to the year before. This week, there was an explosion near the home of the president, several police officers kidnapped, forced to read threats on the gang's behalf, cars set on fire, one at a gas station. Officials say there were over 20 such emergencies and attacks just in the overnight hours between Monday and Tuesday.
Mañana empezamos a trabajar para reconstruir un país que ha sido gravemente golpeado por la violencia, por la corrupción y por el odio.
This is Ecuador's president, Daniel Noboa. He ran on a promise of restoring order to the country, promising to militarize jails the way he's militarized the streets. Prisoners stripped down to their underwear en masse, a search for contraband. The president recently told a radio station, "We are at war." He's designated more than 20 gangs as terrorist groups, making them official targets of the country's military. They've been ordered to neutralize them. But this is an exceedingly dangerous game. Police themselves are said to have been compromised. According to one think tank, even in some cases, selling their weapons to gangs.
Those in the criminal organizations involved in the illicit drug trade have become embedded in the state itself, right? Have become embedded in the police, in the military, in the judiciary. I mean, this has been a tactic of criminal groups, is to place their people within the government, within the state structure.
Canadian travelers, Americans too, are advised to exercise a high degree of caution, avoiding many parts of the country altogether. Tens of thousands of Ecuadorians flee the country every year, heading north through Colombia and dozens of kilometers of jungle.
The impact is that for Ecuadorians, you're scared to go out of your house, right? You don't know what's going to happen next. You're scared to go to university. You might be scared to go to the supermarket.
And politicians themselves are targets. This summer, the mayor of Ecuador's sixth largest city, Manta, was shot dead. The following month, a presidential candidate was assassinated, one who had promised to get tough on crime and who said just days before his death that he had received threats from members of Los Choneros. That gang is the one led by the man I mentioned at the start of all of this. Adolfo Macías, the man who escaped prison, one of the most notorious and feared drug kingpins in the country, and the man who the police and the military can't find. He was, by all accounts, fully capable of running his empire from behind bars. Now, it's anyone's guess what it'll take to bring him and other gang leaders down.